Hello everybody, good morning and a very warm welcome to the concluding part of our Statutory Payments webinar series. This is our Statutory Payments quiz. My name's Duncan, and as you can see I'm joined by my colleague Alice, and we will be co-presenting the quiz for you this morning, testing your knowledge on some of the sessions that we've ran over the past few weeks for the badge. Speaking of the badge, we're going to tell you more about how you claim that later on in this webinar. But before we go into any of that, I will run through a quick bit of housekeeping just to explain how everything is going to work today. So this is an interactive session, so we will be asking you a series of questions split into 4 rounds. We'll be using the polling feature to do this, so you'll see the question pop up on screen like the example that you can see on the current slide. All you need to do is to select what you think is the correct answer and click submit. It is just for fun. We will show the overall split of the results, but we won't be tracking who's got the most correct answers. You can feel free to do that yourself. So that is how it works. We are going to try and keep it quite quick, so we'll give you about 45 seconds to answer each question, and the rounds, as I say, will be themed on the different statutory payments webinars that we've ran over the last couple of weeks. So with that said, we're going to start with round 1, and Alice is going to go through these questions. So it's over to you, Alice. Round 1, sick pay.
Thank you, Duncan. Yeah, so first round is sick pay. That was our first session in the badge series. And yeah, these are just themed to that session and what we've covered. So let me launch question number 1 first of all. Start with that. And that should be coming up on your screens now. So question 1. And this is, what is the weekly rate of SSP for the 2024-25 tax year? Is it £118.75, £116.75, £123 or £125? Great, I'll close that one down. And we'll move on to question number 2. What is the minimum number of consecutive days an employee must be sick to qualify for SSP? Is it 1 day, 3 days, 4 days, or 7 days? Great, and I'll go ahead and close that one down too. So that was question number 2. Moving on to question number 3 in the sick pay round. So in Sage 50 payroll, what does a capital letter X represent on the absence diary? Is it absence for the current period, a waiting day for the current period, a waiting day for a historical period, or a paid SSP day for a historical period? Great. And last question for sick pay, question number 4. And question number 4 is, in Sage 50 payroll, what letters are used to make up an employee's working day pattern? Is that Y's and N's, Q's and Y's, N's and Q's, or Y's and Q's? Great, and I'll close that one down. Fab, so that was your questions for statutory sick pay. Let's go ahead and find out what the answers are now. While we do go through the answers for each round, we do actually have an anagram for you all to figure out too. If you do figure it out, put your answer in the questions panel. So kind of submit that as a question. And yeah, we will reveal that at the end of the round once we've gone through the answers. So this one is dinghy awaits. That is your anagram. Dinghy awaits, and the clue is that there are 3 of them. And this does relate to sick pay. It's another little clue. So answers then. Question number 1, let's see what you all thought. And that was, what is the weekly rate of SSP for the 2024-25 tax year, so the current tax year? So 65% of you said £116.75. Let's go ahead and see if you were correct. So the answer is, Yes, you were correct, £116.75. So well done to those of you who got that correct. Couple of trick answers in this one. So £118.75, that's actually the new rate of SSP from the 6th of April. So when the new tax year comes, that'll be the new rate of SSP. £123, that is at least what the employee must be earning as one of the qualifying conditions for SSP. And £125, that's what that new average is going to be from the 6th of April. So a couple of trick answers in there. But let's move on to answer for question number 2. So this question was, what is the minimum number of consecutive days an employee must be sick to qualify for SSP? And let's see what you all thought. So again, 83%, an overwhelming majority said 4 days. Was this correct? We shall see. Yes, it was. Yeah, so it's got to be 4 days or more to qualify. If it is less than this, it won't qualify for SSP. And in stage 50 payroll, it will likely show as red A's on the absence diary. Great, so well done to those of you who got that correct. Question number 3. So in stage 50 payroll, what does a capital letter X represent on the absence diary? Let's see what you all thought. So a little bit more of a mix of answers here, but 58% of you have said a waiting day for historical period. And let's go ahead and see what the answer was for question 3. And it was a waiting day for a historical period. I did try to emphasise by saying it was a capital letter, that does mean historical. If it was lowercase, that would have been a waiting day for historical for a current period, sorry, but an X does represent a waiting day on the diary. Well done. And question number 4, in stage 50 payroll, what letters are used to make up an employee's working day pattern? 91% of you have said N's and Q's. Let's see if you were all correct. And the answer is N's and Q's. So well done. N, of course, representing non-qualifying days, and then Q representing qualifying days for the working day pattern there. And remember that SSP won't be paid on non-qualifying days. So massive well done to those of you who got those right. But before we move on to round number 2 with Duncan, we are going to reveal that anagram. So the anagram was dinghy awaits. Clue is there are 3 of them. I can see a lot of people in the chat have got this one correct. So the answer is waiting days. So yeah, you serve 3 waiting days for SSP. And yeah, that's what the anagram was. So well done to all of you in the chat there who got the answer correct. But that is round 1. Let's now bring Duncan back for round 2.
Thank you so much, Alice. So you've got me for round 2. This one is all about maternity pay. So session that we ran as part of our statutory payments badge. I'm sure many of you attended. So we'll get straight into the questions, starting with question number 5 of our quiz. And that is on screen now. How many weeks before the expected week of childbirth is the qualifying week? Is it 8 weeks? Is it 12 weeks? Is it 15 weeks? Or is it 26 weeks? Great, and we will move on to question 6. So question 6, on screen now. When is the earliest an employee can start their maternity leave? Is it 2 weeks before the due date? 4 weeks before the due date? 8 weeks before the due date? Or 11 weeks before the due date? A few more seconds on that one. And we'll close that one down. And now move on to question number 7. Question 7 is, how much is the higher rate of SMP? Is it 80% of average weekly earnings? Is it 90% of average weekly earnings? Is it 92% of average weekly earnings? Or is it a flat rate of £184.03 per week? Great, and we'll close that one down. Which brings us on to the last question of this round, question number 8. And for this one, you can choose multiple answers. So in Sage 50 Payroll, where can you enter maternity details to calculate SMP? So select all that apply. Can you do it through payroll and recording maternity? Would you do it in the employee record, absence, and then diary entry? Would you do it in the employee record, absence, SMP? Or would you do it through company and calendar? And we will close that one down as well. So those are your 4 questions for round 2, maternity pay. We will move on to the answers next, but before I do that, we have the next anagram round. So we had quite a lot of success last time. This one is related to maternity pay, and the anagram is T-Dude. T-Dude, and the clue for this one is it's on the way. So one to have a think about. If you know the answer, pop it in the questions, and we'll let you know the answer after we go through round 2. Okay, so our first question in round 2 was how many weeks before the expected week of childbirth is the qualifying week? Let's take a quick check at what you said. So sharing those results, we do have quite a large majority, 81% of you, saying the qualifying week is 15 weeks before the due date. So let's just check to see whether you were right. And the answer is 15 weeks. So well done to those that got that right. It is 15 weeks before the due date is the qualifying week. It's a pretty important date when it comes to statutory parental payments. So for example, employees must be employed for 26 weeks up to that date in order to meet the length of service qualifying condition. And the average earnings that are used to check the entitlement and the higher rate entitlement and the eligibility is taken in the 8-week set period leading up to that date. So a little timeline on the slide there as well. Question 6 then. When was the earliest an employee can start their maternity leave? Let's see what you said on this one. So another strong response for 11 weeks before the due date. 88% of you were saying that. So were you correct on that one? Let's have a look. It was indeed 11 weeks before the due date. The exception being if the baby arrives before that date, in which case the SMP would start the day after the baby is born. Quite commonly here, the employee would probably start their maternity leave a little later than that. Question 7 then, how much is the higher rate of SMP? What did we think on this one? So again, big majority, 85% of you saying 90% of average weekly earnings. So let's give you the answer to that one. It was 90% of average weekly earnings. So that higher rate is paid to the employee for the first 6 weeks of their paid maternity leave, first 6 weeks of SMP. It then goes down to the standard rate, which is that flat rate of 184.03 per week, or 90% of average weekly earnings if lower. And the final question of this round was in Sage 50 Payroll, where can you enter maternity details to calculate SMP? And there were multiple answers for this one. So let's see what you thought. So first 3 answers have been popular here. Payroll recording maternity, 73% of you. The employee record absence and SMP had 81% response. A few of you thought diary entry as well. So let's check the answer on that one. So the correct answers there is from Payroll, recording maternity, also known as Quick SMP, and also in the employee record on the absence tab in the SMP section. So it's down to personal preference which of those routes you go down to enter maternity details. I personally prefer recording maternity, as you get everything in one place and you can print a report. If you were thinking diary entry, you can record absence entries for maternity, but that itself would not calculate the SMP. So the relevant dates would need to be entered in the employee record absence SMP or via recording maternity. So well done to those of you that got 4 out of 4 on that round. Let's just check the anagram. Did many of you get this? I'm sure you did. The anagram was T-dude, and the clue was it's on the way. Answer to this one was due date. So well done if you got due date for the anagram. And with that, it is time to bring Alice back to take us through round 3, which is all about paternity pay.
Thanks, Duncan. Yes, loads and loads of correct answers for the anagram too, which was great. But we'll move straight on to question 9. So this is paternity pay. And question number 9 is, what is the weekly rate of SPP for the 2024-25 tax year? Is it £184.03, £172.48, £123 or £187.18? Great, and we'll go ahead and close that. And moving on to question number 10. So question number 10, when must an employee inform their employer about their intention to take paternity leave? Is it at least 4 weeks before the leave? At least 8 weeks before the leave? At least 15 weeks before the baby is due? Or at least 20 weeks before the baby is due? So I'll go ahead and close that. And we'll move on to question number 11. So question number 11 is, how much can an employer reclaim for statutory parental payments with small employers relief? Is that 92%, 100%, 103%, or 90%? Great, and I'll close that one down. And last question of this round, question number 12. We'll launch that one on your screen now. So question number 12, what might be causing no SPP to calculate in enter payments? And this is a multi-select answer, so select all that you think apply. Could it be that the programme is set to the incorrect process date? The employee has had SPP for a previous child? Manual SPP is selected in the employee record? Or the employee's average weekly earnings are below £123? So which of those might be causing no SPP to calculate in enter payments? Great, and I'll close this one down. That was the last question of the paternity pay round. So yeah, let's go ahead and figure out what those answers were. Same as we have before as well, there is another anagram for you to figure out for this round. So do pop your answers in the chat. This anagram is Amy's backup. Amy's backup. And the clue is if you need a top up. And this does relate to the paternity pay webinar that we ran. So question number 9 then, let's see what you all thought for that. And that was, what is the weekly rate of SPP for the current tax year? So 91% of you said £184.03. Let's see if you were correct. And the answer was £184.03, or the employee will receive 90% of their average weekly earnings, whichever is lower for that. So this is the current weekly rate for statutory parental payments. Again, that is due to increase to £187.18 from the 6th of April, which was another answer that you could have chosen. £172.48 as well, that was another trick answer. That was actually the weekly rate for the 2023-24 tax year. But moving on to question number 10, and that was, when must an employee inform their employer about their intention to take paternity leave? Let's share the results from that poll. So a little bit more of a split with this one, but 64% have said at least 15 weeks before the baby is due. Is that correct? And the answer was yes, at least 15 weeks before the baby is due. You can find more information on this link as well on the bottom of this slide, just on the kind of notice periods and things like that with paternity pay. But moving on to question number 11, and this was, how much can an employer reclaim for statutory parental payments with small employers relief? So 84% of you have said 103%. A couple of people went for the other ones, but let's go ahead and see what the correct answer was. So question number 11, it was 103%. That is with small employers relief. So most employers can reclaim 92%. Your programme is set to this by default, but if you're eligible for small employers relief, you will be able to reclaim that 103%. That is 100% of the payments, and then 3% known as NI compensation. So well done to those of you who got that correct. The last question of this round then, question 12. That was, what might be causing no SPP to calculate and enter payments? This was a multi-select question there. So let's see what you thought. So quite the mix. Looks like loads of people there. Let's hide this and see which of those were correct. So the correct answers were all of them. Well done to those of you who got all of them there. All of these are possibilities of why the SPP might not be calculating. So if that's the case, this does give you a bit of a good idea of kind of what to check in that situation. First thing that we would always recommend to check is your process date. So with all statutory payments, it does calculate up to and including the process date. So if it's not calculating or the amount's not looking quite correct, that is the first thing I would advise to check. But well done, everyone. Well done, especially if you got all 4 of those correct. Now, before we move on to the 4th and final round with Duncan, we will go ahead and reveal that anagram. So it was Amy's backup. The clue is if you need a top up, and the answer is Makeup Basic. And again, it looks like most people got that correct in the questions panel there, so massive well done. This is one of those common scenarios for adjusting your employees' payments to kind of accommodate for the statutory payment. So you will have seen this in action if you've came to any of our other webinars. But that is round 3. Thank you very much for that. And we will bring Duncan back for the final round.
Thanks again, Alice. So we are on to the final round of the quiz. Round 4 is all about shared parental pay. So we ran that webinar over the last few weeks. I'm going to go straight into the questions for this one. So we will kick off with question 13, which is on your screen now. And that question is, when must shared parental leave and pay be taken? Does it need to be taken within 6 months of the birth or adoption date? Does it need to be within 9 months of the birth or adoption date? Is it within 1 year of the birth or adoption date? Or is it within 2 years of the birth or adoption date? I can see we've had quite a few of those in now. So we'll close that down and I'll move on to question 14. So question 14 is, how many separate blocks of shared parental leave could each parent take? Is it up to 2 blocks, up to 3 blocks, up to 4 blocks, Or is there no limit to the number of blocks? Great, and I'll close that one down and move on to question 15. So question 15 on your screen now is, in Sage 50 Payroll, where do you record the dates of shared parental leave? Would you do it through Payroll and recording shared parental? Is it done in the employee record on the absence tab in SPP? Do you enter the dates in the employee record absence tab using diary entry? Or is it recorded from the calendar? Last few seconds on that one. And I'll close that one down. And we have our last question of the quiz. So we're going to finish with a true or false. That's on your screen now. True or false, to get shared parental pay, both parents must be employed by the same employer. Is that statement true or is that false? And we'll close that one down. So that was your last question for round number 4. Let's have a look at the answers, but before we do so, we do have our final anagram round. So this one is Paella veteran, and the clue is sharing is caring. So what could that one be? If you find out, pop your answer in the questions and we will tell you what it is at the end of this. So answers for round number 4. Question 13 there was, when must shared parental leave and pay be taken? Let's reveal the votes. Just sharing that now. So for this one, we have had 86% of you saying it must be taken within a year of the birth or adoption date. So let's have a look and see whether you got that right. And of course you did. Yes, it was answer C. Within a year of the birth or adoption date is when that shared parental leave and pay needs to be taken. Question number 14 then. How many separate blocks of shared parental leave can each parent take? So let's have a look at the results for this one. More of a split on this one. The most popular answer was up to 3 blocks. We've got 23% saying there's no limit, 21% saying up to 2 blocks. So let's find out what the correct answer was. So this is up to 3 blocks of leave. So unlike maternity and adoption, which must be taken as continuous leave, shared parental leave gives you more flexibility. You can have up to 3 separate blocks of leave with gaps in between. And you would also get 20 split days, so the equivalent of a kit day, but for shared parental leave, where employees can return to work for a day without losing any of their statutory pay entitlement. So B was the correct answer there. Question 15 was, in Sage 50 Payroll, where do you record the dates of shared parental leave? Might have caught a few of you out on this one. Let's share your answers to this one. So 46% saying payroll and recording shared parental. Second most popular answer was employee record, absence and SPP. 9% of you saying using the diary entry option. So who was correct on this one? So very well done to the 9% that said you do this through employee record, absence and diary entry. So you would record the declaration details against the original statutory payment, so SPP for partners or typically SMP or SAP for the mother or adopter. But when you're booking the dates of leave and you're recording the dates the employees have been off, this one works similar to sick pay. So you do it through the diary entry option, recording absence type of shared parental. And then the statutory pay will calculate based on those entries. So well done if you got that one correct. I've flown forward a bit too quickly there, but true or false, to get SHPP, both parents must be employed by the same employer. Let's see what you said on this one. I think most of you got this one right. We had 92% of you saying that statement is false. 8% think it's true. Who got that one right? Let's have a look. It is false. So you don't have to be employed by the same employer to get the shared parental pay. The respective employer of the mother, adopter or partner would pay their employee for the leave that they are taking. So well done to most of you that got that one correct. So we will finish with the last anagram. So quite a few of you have got this one. The anagram was Paella veteran, and the clue was sharing is caring. So what was the answer? The answer for that one was parental leave. So great work to a lot of you that put that in the chat. And that has actually brought us to the end of the webinar. But before you go, I do want to tell you more about the digital badge that many of you will have earned by attending this quiz and some of our other sessions. Just a reminder of how you qualified for the badge. You needed to attend the quiz, so you can tick that off, but you also needed to attend at least 4 of the other 5 sessions, which are listed on the slide there. You need to have used the same email address when you're registered, and assuming you've done all of that, you will be receiving your own digital badge, which will be sent to you via email. But there is a new way of accessing the badge. And what I will do is I've got a little video just to explain how that system works, so that you can sort of add that to your social media, your LinkedIn, or whatever you might want to do with that. So we're going to play a quick video on how the badge works, and then I'll come back and tell you about what else we've got coming up. So let's roll VT. So yeah, that's our new system that we're using for the badges. So look out for that arriving in your inbox by the end of this month. So just to let you know about some of the further support in the last few minutes that we're online with you, we do have some upcoming webinars for this month. So if you'd like to join us for a session on Sage HR timesheets, getting your payroll done, minimum wage check, an introduction to payrolling benefits, and your month end. We've got all of that coming up in February, and we also have our payroll year-end webinar series just around the corner. So you can sign up for those sessions now. Just head along to our website at sage.co.uk/webinars. Other help can be found from our online help centre, sage.co.uk/help, or by following any of the help links in Sage 50 Payroll. You'll find the same content. So you can do a search for keywords, you can read our curated support guides. You can also get in touch with our support team should you need to. Just select the topic you need help with, and you will find a get in touch link with all the contact details. You also have access to Sage University at sageu.com. You can create your free profile on that website, and once you're logged in, find your way to the Sage 50 Payroll learning path, where you'll find a range of e-learning courses, certification, and bite-sized learning available for you to use. So a great learning resource for you to check out. A couple of minutes left of the webinar. We're not expecting questions, as I say. Well done for those of you that got all of the answers right in the quiz today. And if you got the anagrams as well, just a bit of fun for you. I hope you enjoyed it. What we will be doing is we'll just stay online a couple of minutes, just in case there are any questions or comments that we need to respond to in the chat. We will be sending you a follow-up email as well. So it does contain a recording of the session should you want to watch the quiz back and do it again, or maybe if you have colleagues that would like to test their knowledge. Do remember to download the handouts. Alice has uploaded the answers to their questions as well, if you want any of those further support links that we included there. And you will receive that follow-up email, as I say, later today, and that's got your links to register for our upcoming sessions as well. But we're going to call it a day there. So from myself and Alice, thanks so much for joining us this Friday morning. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you at some of our other webinars at some point in the future. But it's goodbye for now.